All right, I think we're live. I don't know for sure. Let's double check. I think we're live, and if we are, let me know in the chat. YouTube, holler at me. We are doing some Food Friday today. Let me make sure I got my notifications off. Our OBS is up. We got some different camera angles today, as you could tell. Look at this. We got the cutting board angle right here. I got the me camera right here. Now I don't even know where I'm looking at. I don't know if the audio is working. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We might go through this whole Italian stream without knowing, unless anybody comes in here and some of the OGs want to holler at me. So, by further ado, we're live. Yeah. So let me get us going on Instagram. All right. We get a little drink here. Checking the connection, checking it once, checking it twice, making sure the connection is naughty or nice, right? But I got some new C4 Smart Energy. If anybody was curious about this, this is apparently a different drink than the one that I told you about beforehand. The other one has 200 milligrams of caffeine. This one has 150, and apparently it has some Innovato tea. Well, that's what we're drinking today. So we got so if I'm all hyped up, blame it on the C4. But essentially, we doing some Italian food today. So welcome. We in the kitchen. And if you're tuning in on YouTube as well, you will notice that I'm talking to Instagram, I'm talking about YouTube, but I'm trying something different where we have two cameras going. So we're doing something, we're out here, we're trying, and essentially we are making some Italian food, some Italian sauce. So holler at me. Everybody kind of voted for meatballs, but then I'm like, I got a bunch of messages on Instagram that said, actually, Nick, I want them both. So we might do a little bit of them both. So holler at me. Let me know how everybody's doing today on this Friday evening, afternoon. Maybe it's somewhere else. But how's everybody doing? Essentially, we got to get ourselves to going. So how I like to make the sauce and how Grandma, now again, I can't, if Grandma gets on the stream, I am going to let you know that I cannot give out Grandma's secret sauce. But we're going to make a variation of it. I'm not going to give you the exact ingredients because that would just be, that's me being too nice. I can't do that. But it starts with some tomato paste. So as you well know, I was over at Dialio's. I think that's pretty much how you say it. I was over at Dialio's watching the Steelers training camp over the weekend and spent way too much money. And when I mean by way too much money, I mean $150 on damn. My grandma's Italian too, Aubrey. I love it. I love it. Then you know just where I'm coming from right here, right? Whenever you go to the Italian store and you spend way too much money on these tomato sauces and tomato paste, you can get this at the store, right? At your regular grocery store. But I'll spend the extra 50 cents or $1 just because it's Diallo's. But yeah, I even when I was at the store today, I even got a new wooden spoon. Right? I even got a brand new wooden spoon just so I can show this off for everybody today. So we have our crushed tomatoes, so that's always important. I don't know. Let me ask some questions first. Now, are you a red sauce type of person? Are you a marinara sauce? Are you more of a spaghetti sauce? Let me know in the chat. Do you like the sauce like kind of runny? Do you like it kind of thick? What is it? How do you like? And how do you enjoy your sauce? I gotta get these damn stickers off. Guess I should have been a little bit more prepared. But how do you like your sauce? Are you more of like a chunky marinara, kind of like a smooth type of spaghetti sauce? Because that is how we're gonna dictate how we make today's. Actually, I'm gonna make it the same way I always do, but whatever. But let me get you showed. So we have our tomato paste. What's the difference? Well, the difference is the tomatoes, right? So like, if you like using just diced tomatoes rather than crushed tomatoes, maybe some people, maybe you just use the tomato sauce, right? Pamela. It's a good question. Maybe you just do tomato sauce without like the chunkier diced tomatoes. So yeah, one of those. That's kind of our difference. And if you're wondering, well, Nick, I thought I followed you for exercise. Well, little do you know, I was a sous chef for over a decade at a restaurant, and that's how I even got into all this stuff. So if you think, well, Nick, do you even know what you're doing? Do you even know how to cook? Of course I do. Let me get this damn connection off. It always wants to do something to me every time I go live. I don't know why it always does that to me. But essentially, let's get ourselves going. So just like every good sauce, well, at least in what the hell is this? Well, my clients, she gave me a present. Look at this. Okay, this was in my bag. How cute. Who's that? Elsa? I guess. Look at that. Ain't that nice of my client's daughter to give us a little present on stream. A little. I guess I can hang it out, but there we go. Thanks, Scarlett. We got our Elsa picture. How cute. But essentially, you got to get yourself a sharp knife, right? You always got to make sure your knife is sharp. Get your sharp knife, because we've been doing these food Friday streams, I feel like, forever now. And one of the things that we've talked about I'm talking way back when, was talking about how getting a sharp knife is essential for whenever you're trying to chop your onions, right? So let me show you the best way. And let me know if you see, let me tilt you down a little bit here. You can see the cat. Everybody always asks, is the cat dead? No, the cat, she's just being my cat. Actually speaking, she's bad. She ate a cheese stick earlier today as I was opening the fridge. It ate the whole damn stick, so she may or may not die today. Who knows? But essentially, you always cut your onion in half, because I always like doing these half moons, and especially when you go to dice it or slice it, right? Because this makes it so much easier to play around with. Because if you cut the ends off and then you cut it into a half moon, right, you can score it nice and easy, right? And I'm not cutting all the way through as a slice. You can slice it in half if you're really trying to mince your onions. And then you're just really slicing all the way down, right? So how I like to do any sauce, that especially grandma sauce, is that I need onions and garlic. So the first thing we want to do, and this is something that you call, look at that in the center of it, sweating down the garlic and onions. And so that's what essentially we're going to do first. So the first thing is we're going to get the heat onto our pan. Now I always like to do that while I'm cutting the onions, because it's all about timing, right? That's the whole thing. You're always trying to make sure that it is a timing thing. And this can be done really quick, right? All you're doing is dicing one onion right here. And again, you could do a rough chop with these onions. You don't have to be exactly real fine like mine. I'm not really, again, like we talked about earlier, the chunkier, or if you like it more of a smooth sauce, that's totally up to you, depending on your personal preference, right? So we have this heating up. I always like to throw a little bit of water on there to see where we're at. And you can see I got a little bit of onion. Now let me know, do you like onions and garlic, or do you like shallots and garlic? Now, if you have ever seen, or if you use a shallot, me personally, I like adding them all. Why? Because a shallot, if you don't know, is basically the hybrid of a garlic and an onion. So why the hell not put both of them in there? So I use about this much of a shallot, right? And so make sure you get the skin off. And to tell you what, I'll show you a little cheat here. See, again, that's why you cut it in half, because you could just peel it right off. You don't want to peel off the layers, because you want to score it just like you did the onion, right? You could score it just like you do the onion. With the shallot, you can use that flat edge. See that flat edge? Right? That's just a natural flat edge that rests comfortably right there on your cutting board. so that whenever you're slicing, it doesn't move out on you. And again, remember, whenever you're dicing any type of vegetables, any type of, especially onion, always use the back end of your knife, right? You're always using the back end of your knife, not the front. You're not trying to stab somebody. You're trying to actually cut the onion. So, now that we have that going, our pan is probably, again, you don't want it smoking hot, but we got to get some extra virgin olive oil. And I like to do, again, what do we always say? We measure with our heart. We always measure with the heart. So we'll let that olive oil heat up just a little bit here. I'll wipe my hands, wipe my eyes, as now that's the only thing about whenever I cut onions by myself, I could do it real nice and quick. Well, nobody told me I had the damn cover on. Why didn't you tell me the cover was still on? Nick, hey, if you're heating the pan on, take the fucking cover off. I'm like wondering, like, damn, that ain't heating up. Duh. But anyways, we got a half of our shallot, or I would say about a quarter of our shallot. We have a whole diced onion, and then now, cat, watch out. No? See, look, this cat, she's so lazy. If I open up the door, she doesn't even move. It let it go right over top of her. Like, what are you doing? Don't you want to get up? She'd rather have the door hit her over and over again rather than have me get up. I don't know. That is the cat. But grab some garlic. You know, these damn animals, you know what I mean? And if you know me, right? I am lazy when it comes down to garlic. I'm not peeling all this stuff off. We're going to use the already crushed over here. And if you ever look at it, right, 1 teaspoon, they say, is about a clove of garlic. Oh, did you finally get up, cat? Oh, look, would you look at that? And again, what do? We measure with our heart. I don't know. I do. If you say 1 teaspoon is 1 clove, let's think maybe we're going 3 to 4 cloves. But you also got to remember, that's why we use the shallot as well with the onions, because the shallot is a garlic onion hybrid. And there's no vampires coming tonight. Let's just say that. There's no vampires coming over for dinner. That is for sure. But a lot of times, and once we get this started, we're going to get the meatballs going. And I know you're going to like it. I got a couple good secrets about the meatballs that maybe you've never even heard of, or maybe you already do. But carrots, right? We gotta tone down the acidity when it comes down to the what's my garbage? When it comes down to the sauce. And that's a big thing with, I think, a lot of people when they make a sauce. Let me back up a little bit here so I'm not just, you see half of my head, is that they forget that it is tomatoes, right? Tomatoes, onions, garlic, what is that? It's a lot of acid. So people who get indigestion, people who get acid reflux, you got to realize that, you know, and a lot of people like to tone it down with sugar. I am not one of those people. I like using the veggies to turn it down. So I like putting carrots. Carrots is a good natural way to tone down that acidity without putting in that added sugar. So use that one the next time you're making a sauce. And so now that we're getting a little hot here, let's throw the onions on top. I'll turn that up a little hotter. And so really what we want to do here is, if you ever heard of the term sweat the onions. So we're trying to sweat the onions, we're trying to sweat the garlic, and yeah, and essentially why we do that is because you want the fragrance, right? You want the feeling, you want the taste. And this is actually when I throw in just a little chili flakes. Just brings out just a little bit of flavor. If this ever comes out. You know, they always make it chili flakes. How the hell were you ever going to get a chili flake out of those holes? You know what I mean? Look at that. How are you ever going to get a chili flake out of there? And then if you switch it to the other side, Next thing you know, you're eating the whole damn thing of chili flakes. So a little bit of chili flakes, just give it a little spice. If you don't like, that's optional, right? If you don't like a little bit of chili flakes on there, then don't put them in. I got my new wooden spoon over here, nice, ready to rock. And then now we're just gonna put this all together here. And there's really, I don't know, there's nothing better than the smell of onions, garlic, shallots, olive oil, all coming together. And so let me show you a little bit of the herbs that we're going to be using as well. We got some bay leaves. We have some nutmeg that we're going to use. We have our tomato sauce from Diallo. We have our tomato paste. And we have our crushed tomatoes. And you know, everything's got to be from Diallo's, right? Everything's from Diallo's because that's where we were the other day. So we have our, it's actually, I don't think I've ever used this specific one. Italian recipe ready crushed tomatoes. Oh, Kat, there you go. You hit the jackpot. So we have our onions, garlic, sweating, slowly coming together here. And that gives us a good opportunity to get a bowl and some meatballs. So now how I personally like to do these meatballs, like Grandma taught me, is you use ground sirloin. So if you use ground sirloin, you don't get as much fat into the sauce, right? So a lot of times when people are making red sauce, let me tilt this back up. A lot of times when people are making red sauce, what they end up doing is they actually have so much, basically oil and so much fat sitting at the top of the sauce, it just becomes way too damn much. So if you use a leaner meat, which you should be using the sirloin anyways, who the hell's still eating 80-20 bullshit, right? Come on now. Let's be real. But I'm using about, what is this? It's about a pound, a little over a pound and a half. Usually I use 2 pounds, but you could always, I know some people like using pork, maybe mixing a little bit of pork, ground pork with the sirloin. Me, I like just using regular old sirloin. And I know a bunch of us, we voted for, not only did you vote for a meat sauce, and you voted for meatballs. So I'm going to show you essentially how you could do both with the same mixture, right? Because essentially what we're going to do, and you got to wash your hands because we're touching raw meat. I don't want to cross-contaminate my whole damn house. Get everybody sick. Get myself sick, get everybody sick. And how's everybody doing today? I know we're over here. I'm just bullshitting all hyped up on this C4, making damn meatballs and sauce. How's everybody doing on this Friday afternoon, on the Food Friday? I feel like we've been doing these Food Fridays for, 4 or 5 months now? If you guys are, I got a bunch of messages the other day saying, Nick, where were you? I wanted to see you live. And I'm like, damn, I didn't really think people actually looked forward to these. I thought I was just kind of doing these on my own. But hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm always going to be over here doing these damn lives. So much that I actually put it now in my bio. We're live at 3 p.m. on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That's going to be our live stream schedule kind of going forward until I'm done cooking for my client in the summer. So Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we're live. So you can hear a little sizzle going on here. And really how people always ask, like, well, how do you know if it's too much? How do you know if you're cooking it too much? Wait till it's translucent. Once it's translucent, that's how you know you're sweating your onions down. Because once you could do that, I thought I had my tomato paste. It's all right sitting here right in front of me. Because essentially how I like to do this and how I was taught as you can see right here how we have the onions, we have the garlic. We want to now put the tomato paste and kind of combine it and cook it all together. So that, if I can, why is this drawer so fucking stuck? Jesus Christ. All right. And then now with the tomato paste, you got to keep in mind that a little goes a long way, because what is tomato paste? Concentrated tomatoes. Some people want to use this whole thing. I am on the notion, especially with my recipe right here, is that 6 ounces, depending on how much sauce you're making, maybe isn't the bad. Oh, there she is, Grandma. No, we're not giving away Grandma's secret sauce, but we are making a variation of it. So, Grandma, you don't have to have a heart attack on here. See? Thumbs up. But the tomato paste, since the pros in the chat, Grandma, do you use a whole tomato can, or do you only use a little bit of it? Let us know. You're the pro. We're in here for your secrets. Do you use the whole tomato paste with the onions and garlic, Grandma, or do you just use a tablespoon? I'll do whatever you tell me. Whatever you tell me. That's if you can. I don't know if you can even hear me, or if you understand what the hell we're even doing. But I don't even know how delayed actually the chat actually is when it comes down to it. I really don't know how delayed it is, but I like doing 2 tablespoons and making sure you don't get any damn metal in there. That would have been nice. So I do 2 tablespoons, and then you do the same thing with water. So Grandma, your time to be on stream was here, and it went. If you still hear me, you're still the best. So 2 tablespoons. You're trying to thin that out. And to be honest, those were kind of heaping, right? So let's just throw another one on there just because. So now we're trying to blend all of this together. And essentially, you want this to kind of cook up and just. Now this, when you think about it, is your base, right? When it comes down to it, that is going to be your base for your tomato sauce. I know sometimes people just like to kind of go right into it with a, onions, olive oil, garlic, and then just kind of call it, that's where you start pouring the sauce in. Not here. That is a crucial step whenever you're making the sauce. So let this come together a little bit. Pat, you okay? We're gonna let that come together. And then now is always a good time to put in some of your seasoning. So using really whatever, right? If you got an Italian herb seasoning, maybe you're throwing a little bit of that in there. Maybe if you got a little bit of garlic salt, you're tossing that in there. And again, cooking is supposed to be about finding what works for you, right? So what I like to put on here, and especially this position, is garlic salt, onion powder, and a little bit of herb blend. I let that cook down, and then I add a little bit of nutmeg. So the nutmeg kind of gets the tone down. And again, this is just a sprinkle, nothing too crazy. And I will tell you this, I found Don Giovanni's garlic pepper when I was at the store. And you know damn well I'm putting Don Giovanni's garlic pepper seasoning in here because it just, we have to. Don wouldn't be... Yeah, we have to, right? So that's going to be our base. Let's cook this down a little bit. And again, we don't have this on a real high temperature. We're really just trying to kind of combine these flavors. And now, this is where the magic happens. I like throwing a handful of shredded carrots. People ask, Nick, why the hell would you throw some shredded carrots in there? And we'll throw a little bit more. And again, if you were here earlier, it's for the acidity, right? So a lot of times when we're cooking sauce, well, not a lot of times, when we're cooking tomatoes, we have acid. When we're cooking onions, we're cooking acid. When we have tomato paste, it's acid. It's acid, you know. And so a lot of times when people have red sauce, they deal with indigestion. They deal with stomach problems. So the carrots are a way for us to tone down a lot of that acidity. And again, kind of just gives a little bit of flair to it, right? So we're gonna let that cook down a little bit here, and let me know if anybody has any comments. And so I know I'm watching that. Let me turn this down a little bit, because then next we have tomato sauce and your crushed tomatoes. Now it's up to you how much you're going to use, right? Or which one you're going to use more of. I personally like the crushed tomatoes more. Some people like adding more tomato sauce. That one's going to be, again, totally optional to what you prefer. I like using more of the crushed tomatoes and using 15 ounces of this tomato sauce. Did you say carrots? I did, yep. Sharon, was that your name? Shannon, carrots. So adding 2 tablespoons, or about, actually I won't even say 2 tablespoons. It's more or less like 4 tablespoons. And so I want you to look, if you can see that right there. And you can see how it slowly kind of comes together. It gives it a little bit of texture, right? And so that helps tone down a lot of that acidity, because again, like I said, we're going to be putting a lot of acid in here. And I know people can say, well, Nick, you could just add sugar, and that's true, you can. But me, I'm the type of person who, I have enough damn sugar. Let's be real. And I really don't like a sugary sauce. If I'm going to eat a sugary sauce, I'm just going to go get a can of Prego and not even do this, right? So, Shannon, got to try that? Yeah, good idea. It's I recommend it. I really do. But we're going to throw in some of this tomato sauce. And again, tomato sauce, that's why I always ask if you like it rather thin or if you like it chunky, because when you do more tomato sauce, you see the texture, you see the consistency is a lot thinner, right? It's a lot thinner than whenever, and that's only the small can. And then I like throwing in 1 whole can of the crushed tomatoes, right? But you can't just do all tomatoes. You got to fill up your big can with some water. Because like in any good sauce, you need it to reduce. And being that we're going to be throwing some meatballs, you got to thin it out with some water. And again, if you find that you overdo it with water, maybe you're like, holy shit, Dick, that looks like a lot of water. Or maybe you just accidentally put too much water into it. Just remember, you just got to cook it down, right? The more you cook it, the more, and to be honest, I'll probably end up adding more water to this as it's cooking, depending on how long I'm cooking it for. But I only see, if you can see that, I only threw in half of that water, because if you think about it, we still have that paste, right? What's the whole idea of the paste? Well, the paste is to bring it all together as a more of a binder, right? If you think of a roux, if you think of flour, and so we have that going on. And so I'm going to add a little bit more water now that that is ready to rock and roll. So now it's a little bit more on the liquid side, and that's exactly what we want, because now you're safe. You're I don't know if you can see it. Well, let me bring it on over here. Because if I could bring it over, you're safe, right? You see how it's a little wet? And that's good, because we want to bring this heat all the way up to about a 6 or a 7, and you want to let that actually, you don't want it to boil. That's the problem. A lot of people always say, well, bring your sauce up to a boil No, because you bring it up to a boil, you have a volcanic eruption, and especially as you can see, I have a white stovetop, and it's a pain in the ass to clean. So if you put a little bit more water than you normally would, you have a chance to let it reduce, and then kind of get more of that flavor, and you have more time to make the meatballs, which we're making right now. So with the meatballs, here is the secret ingredient. Milk. Nick, what the hell? You're putting milk in your meatballs? Who the hell are you? No. What we do is we don't use breadcrumbs. So if you want an actual soft Italian meatball, and there's always a difference. You know a good meatball, like a good Italian meatball, you know if you go to a restaurant, that good Italian restaurant, you cut right through the meatball and it's like, holy shit, this is, yeah. Or if you go to another one where you kind of cut into it and it's like kind of hard. Well, this is how you make the true authentics. So you have to get your favorite, and I mean your favorite, as our favorite here in Pittsburgh, is Mancini's. So what we do with the Mancini's is we get about 2 pieces of your favorite Italian bread, right? If you don't have Mancini's, you're not from Pittsburgh, oh well. I want you to rip it up. Crust and all, put it in a separate bowl. And essentially what we are going to do is we are going to add probably about, I don't know, I use about 1/3 cup, depending on how much bread it is, and we'll find out whenever we start adding this to our meatball mixture, is that we actually use a little bit of milk and we mix this together with the bread. So essentially what we want to do is we want the milk to soak into the bread, and that, my friends in the community, is how you get a true authentic soft meatball. So as you can see, right? Nothing too crazy, right? Just your typical soggy milk bread. Well, that is how we add. And again, I like to just add that to about the corner of the meatball mix, right? So you're gonna add that to the corner of the meatball mix. And I guess I can hold on to this because we'll probably be needing that in a little bit. I'm gonna wash my hands here. Now, does anybody do that trick? Does anybody do the milk and bread for the meatball? Let me know. I need a drink. We need the egg. So we got the egg. Oh, I'll get the lime ginger. And if you're like, Nick, I don't want to use milk, you could use water. If you find yourself that it's maybe too soft, you can always throw in some extra breadcrumbs. But if you actually want to get that soft, authentic meatball, it is the bread broken up, mixed with a little bit of milk. And if you guys have been watching the live streams, you know I've been shouting this brand out right here. No affiliation. Their sparkling water, Nixie. I don't know where my girlfriend got this from. It is so good. Usually I always taste that like aftertaste of sparkling water, but this one tastes really good. So now that we have that, oh shit, I forgot to put my, I apologize. Now that that's going, yeah, look at this. A bay leaf. Is a bay leaf coming out of there? You tell me. Why do they do this? So you twist that off, and I'm actually throwing, well, I'm going to throw 2 bay leaves in there. And remember, if you're using bay leaves in a sauce, make sure that you take them out before you eat them. There ain't nothing worse than getting some chunky ass bay leaf in your, yeah. You don't want that. So let's get back to our meatball. So now that we have our meatballs, we have 1 egg we're going to throw in here. And again, points if you can actually crack this egg with one hand. Can you crack an egg with one hand? No? Yes? Maybe so. I don't know how many I could do. And look, there's no shells, right? Because if you crack an egg on a flat surface, there will be no shells. A bunch of people don't realize that. You don't realize if you actually crack an egg on a flat surface rather than on the edge of your counter, you'll get no shells. So, here's where we get fun too. The cheese for a official, authentic Italian meatball is Parmigiano Reggiano. Parmigiano Reggiano. I tried to do my best Italian impression, but all my people would probably just be like, Nick, what the hell are you talking about? But this is the one you want. Because you're going to throw a little bit of this in the sauce. You're going to throw a little bit of this into your meatball. So now that we actually look at, you got to keep paying attention to your sauce, right? It's starting to bubble a little bit. Perfect. We are going to go and turn the temperature down. Kat, what are you doing? All right. So we have our garlic. So I like to add a nice pinch or two of garlic. Because again, remember, we love a little bit of garlic. We love garlic. Everybody loves a little garlic. You throw a pinch of Italian seasoning in there. Make it nice and easy. And being that I found Don Giovanni's garlic pepper at the store today, I'm going to throw a little bit of that in there too. Why not? Usually I wouldn't, but oh well. That's how we're going to do it. And I need my grater. Do I not have my cheese grater? What the hell did I do with my cheese grater? It's all the way in the back. All right. And let's see. Let's get about, say, you're looking at about 1/3 of a cup. And again, everybody's mixture is going to be different because of the meat. Like I said, I like to use about 2 pounds of ground sirloin. Some people like to cut it with pork. Some people like to cut it with veal. But we're looking for 1/4 a cup here. And essentially, we want to start bringing this together. And this is one of my favorite tools I've ever had. Look at this. It's like a pastry brush, silicone pastry brush. Plus, yeah, it makes all the difference. So I want you to combine this. And if you want to say, Nick, that's not how we do it. Okay, then you get your hands dirty, right? Then you get in there and you start mixing it together. I just don't want to keep washing my damn hands over and over and over and over and over again, but that's where we're at. But this also, when you do it with your hands instead of a spatula, it gives you more of a feeling of what kind of, texture and how much of the, basically what it's going to feel like whenever you pull it out. So if you get a couple extra chunks, yeah, make sure that bread really gets in there. And to be honest, I would say this is about the perfect type of consistency. So if I'm going to make this meatball, it's still got some moisture to it, right? And you don't want to make them too big like spoon benders as well, but you can also throw some extra pepper, some salt, like I'm about to do. So after you do a nice mix, kind of get everything mixed together as your first blend, kind of like what we do with the sauce over here too, right? Is you throw in a little bit of black pepper. And then you throw in a little bit of garlic salt. And the reason you do salt, I don't like doing a whole bunch of salt, but the reason you want to do salt is so that you bring the flavors out. So a lot of people are like, Nick, I don't want to use salt. Well, you need the salt to kind of bring out a lot more of those extra flavors. And to be honest, I know my girlfriend had some fresh basil somewhere that I feel like I should probably use in here just because. Does she have some basil somewhere? We got some fresh basil straight out the garden that we're gonna throw right into here. But just like everything, make sure you rinse it off first. Who knows what the hell's crawling on your outdoor plants, right? Now would you rather grow it outside though than actually buy it from the store, because you never know what the hell they're actually spraying it on the store. I'll take my chances with the little bugs and the little critters that are crowing around my garden rather than whatever the hell they're spraying on this at the store, which we always thought was water, and come to find out it's not just water. It's like some sort of pesticide that keeps it fresh. Oh, thanks. Keeping it fresh. So now that we got that basil, that's like citrus basil. What the hell kind of basil is that? I thought she had just regular basil, but apparently we got citrus. What the fuck? I'm gonna have to text her. It's like citrus style basil. I'm like cutting that. I'm like, why does this smell like lemons? So this should be interesting. These meatballs should be interesting. Now, here's the true. Does parsley add anything to the recipes, or is it just for color? You let me know in the chat. I'm curious. I'm curious to know your thoughts on that. Does parsley taste like anything, or is it just to add some green to whatever the hell it is that you're making? Because I've heard a good argument from both camps, if I'm being for real. If I'm being real, I have heard a good argument for both camps. And YouTube, you should be getting a nice scene right there for me cutting. No, parsley is for decoration. Okay, Sarah. Okay, truth. Parsley is for decoration. So that's why we're gonna decorate. We're decorating the meatballs then. So I just washed my hands. Apparently we got some citrus basil that my girlfriend planted outside that I thought was regular basil. So we have no idea if these meatballs are going to be the true authentic grandma meatballs. But you know what? That's why we do it. That's why you cook, because then you never know. You might have found something really good. So here we are. Oh yeah. So actually it's funny that we're doing this stream today. It's because my grandma texted me the other day and said, Nikki, you know what? She's like, I feel so bad for doing this, but I actually just throw the meatballs into the sauce raw rather than cook them. And I'm like, Grandma, how dare you? How dare you do that? But I've been doing it like that for years, so you let me know. Should we brown the meatballs first, or should we throw the meatballs in like Grandma suggested? What should we do? You see I did throw a little bit of cheese in there because it just, might as well. Should we throw them in there? Should we make them, throw them in there, or should we brown them off like a normal human? What are we going to do? First thing we got to do, brown them first, Sarah? Okay. Makes sense. Brown them first. Let me move some of this stuff. And because you brown them, it's looking like I need to get a fucking bigger house. This kitchen is starting to get a little too small for what I essentially want to do. So, with any type of meatballs, you got to find your consistency, your size. And see, that's how you know a good meatball. If you can see the breadcrumb hanging out the damn meatball, you know you're in a true Italian place. And again, when you're making these meatballs, right, do you want them to be uniform? You do. And the reason you want them to be uniform is so that they cook evenly, right? A lot of times people, you know, especially when I say I'm always a measure with your heart type of person, but when it comes down to meatballs or it comes down to steak, comes down to burgers, anything that you're doing that actually involves like multiples, you kind of want them to be as uniform as they possibly can be. And that's all just for cooking time, basically. So that's something to consider if you're one of those people who just kind of, when you're making your cookies and one of them's massive in the oven and then the other one's real tiny, and then you got like a medium-sized one kind of hanging around there, and you're wondering like, why is this one always hard and why is this one burnt? Well, that's the reason. That's the reason why. And so we have, I wonder how many we're going to make. So I told myself, because, you know, I love me a good meatball. And if you think about it, I don't know why I should have marketed these as protein meatball, because it seems that now every creator on Instagram, if you're using Fairlife milk, it's protein. You know, everything's protein meatball. But they would rather say it's protein rather than the damn ground beef. It's the Wild West out here when you look at fitness content anymore. There is no So that's why I appreciate everybody who tunes into the live streams, everybody in the community. I try to do my best to give you the most sound information, research that I've been a part of, that I've seen, recipes that are true to my heart, and the yoga sequences that are efficient. So I appreciate every one of you. That's actually one of the things that I've been doing. I don't know if you saw my stories a couple days ago, is that I got a new anatomy book. And the anatomy book is, it's Pilates, but it's an anatomy Pilates book. So essentially what I've been doing with it is coming up with a bunch of different exercises for particular pain points that people have. So I know a lot of you, whenever you're working at a desk, your lower back hurts, your shoulders hurt, maybe you have a locked up muscle, bone, or whatnot. Maybe you got something that's clicking in your leg. Well, I'm going through it right now. I'm like kind of halfway done with the book, where I'm trying to figure out, making some different routines for you to choose from on Sunday's live stream. So always trying to give you some more value to choose from on our yoga and Pilates stream. So I got so many damn meatballs. I didn't think I was going to be making this many meatballs. I didn't realize this was happening right now. I did not know that this was possible. But we got a ton of fucking meatballs. So, and this was only 1.5 pounds. You mean to tell me, Grandma, if you're still in here, you put all of these in that sauce? What the hell? No. But we're not gonna question the grandmas, right? They know best. Well, they knew best. I don't know if they know best anymore. I was just at the store, and there was a couple older individuals that probably should not have had their license. Let's just say that. So we got a shit ton of meatballs, and I gotta brown these off because that's what you suggested. And as you can see over here, we're at a nice simmer. We are at a nice simmer. It's starting to reduce a little bit. It's starting to heat the house up. It's starting to get hot in here. It's getting hot in here. And this is a good time to taste the sauce. What's the sauce feeling like? What's it tasting like? What does it need? Does it need some love? But I always like to let it cook down a little bit before, because again, you're really trying to get these flavors together. And if you were listening, you put a lot of the, you put a little extra water in it so that you can not have to worry about it. Fix the meatballs, do your garlic bread, get your tiramisu, get your cannolis, get your stuff together. So if it tastes a little watery, just remember, you still got time. A good sauce really takes what? I'd say 2 hours. 2 hours cooking. Oh, shit, I did leg day yesterday. Ow. All right. Now, somebody told me about the hex-clad pans. Let me rinse this. Has anybody heard of the hex-clad, or Gordon Ramsay's sponsored pans? Has anybody ever heard of those ones? I almost bought some from Prime Day, and you know what? I should have. They look legit. Let me get you over here now. So if anybody's ever used them, let me know your thoughts. We're going to get them together. And also, while we got some stuff heating up, I should let you know that we have 2 new partners, or 2 new people who want to be partners to the community. And it's a yoga company. So it's a yoga company. They want to give out some free yoga mats, and they want to sponsor a yoga stream every once in a while. So we're going to be able to I'm going to be able to give out free yoga mats and free discount codes to, who are they? I forget who they are. Shit, maybe I should have thought about that. Yune Yoga, Y-U-N-E. They got some pretty cool yoga mats. I've never used them. And I told them I would shout them out, but I won't show their product until they send me one and I actually use it, because I've never used it before. So we have some potential partners that want to give us some special gifts. And you know what? If somebody wants to give the community some gifts, I'm gonna say yes. Whether or not if I use it, that's one thing. But maybe you guys would. So that might be something that we do want to give away, or we'll see. We'll see once they send me a mat, and if the community thinks that it's legit, and if I think it's legit. Because I use a Manduka mat, and those things are expensive. They were $85, my yoga mat, and it's worth it because it's rubber. So we might have a sponsor for our yoga stream. So we're slowly getting somewhere. I don't know where we're going, but we're slowly getting somewhere. So that should be fun. If anybody's looking for a new yoga mat. And I don't know what else they have on their, actually probably, I really never even looked at it. But we also have another company, and if anybody's ever done cupping, I don't know if that recovery thing, let me bring this over here. Fuck, turn it over. Cupping, so you know that cup where they stick it onto your arm, or they stick it onto your back, chest, wherever, and they draw the blood up. And it's essentially supposed to recirculate, kind of get rid of aches, pains, all this other stuff. Well, they're sending me over a smart cupper, and I'm going to actually use it, and we're going to see if that thing works or if it's full of shit. Because if it's full of shit, I don't want it. So they're going to send us over a free one as well, and we get to see if these things actually work. So we got some companies that are actually trying to give you guys some free stuff. And I told them I'm not going to say yes until we find it all out together. If we like it, if we're like, this thing's cheap, this thing's shit. They're like, well, let us know, Nick. We care about your opinion. I said, okay. So we have some stuff coming down the pipeline. All right, so I got a little olive oil in my pan. And again, you don't want it too hot, because again, we're just browning these off. And the way that I like to do it is I start from the outside and I work from the inside. And this way you can maybe add in all of your meatballs in a uniformed way. No way we're going to get them all in this pan. Holy shit. Would you look at that? Look at this. Oh, you didn't even see me do that. Oh, shit. Look at that. We got all those meatballs in one pan. It's a miracle. I'll be real, it never happens like that, right? So I'm going to throw a little extra pepper just because on top, because I like pepper. Everything could always do a little bit more pepper. And I'm going to come over here and throw some more pepper. You know, I thought these little automatic things were convenient, but I want more to come out. Like, give me more, damn it. There we go. It's like, it's actually, you get these for convenience. I don't know if anybody has one of these, but you get it for convenience, and then it doesn't actually give you the right amount that you want in the first place. So you're better off just twisting it so you can actually get the amount that, yeah, I don't know. That's how we do it. We think it's actually works smarter, but then we actually work harder. So now this is starting to come together a little bit. And if you were to go, some people like to cover their sauce, and I want to tell you why that's a bad idea. So if you go to cover your sauce, essentially what you're doing is you're promoting more water into your sauce. So what we're trying to do right here is get the water out of the sauce, right? By keeping the lid on and a nice simmer. That's the whole reason you simmer, if you ever really wanted to know, was to get the moisture out. So being that that's, you know, what we're trying to do, if we go ahead and put something over top of that, that water never gets to come out, and now you get a really watery sauce, and it's kind of just like, that's the last thing you want. So, no good Italian night is without its garlic bread. So let me show you how to make the best fucking garlic bread you'll ever make in your life. And the reason why I say that is because it's highly rated. Somebody actually wanted my recipe when I was in the restaurant, and they were going to actually mass distribute it. And if you're smart, you would write this down for the next time you make garlic bread. Because I'm only going to say it once, actually. I'll say this many times. But you get half a stick of butter. So it is 1/2 a stick. If I was paying attention, I would have this at room temperature. And if you know 1/2 a stick, wow, that's kind of cool, is 1/4 a cup. So you got 1/4 of a cup of butter. Butter is important. Now, if you're watching your fats, this is where you're going to get them. Make sure your meatballs aren't burning. You're going to turn that down a little bit. And again, you don't want to mix them too much because you don't want them to stick. That's actually one of the things too, is that you don't want them to stick. So a lot of times I see people, they're always trying to mess around with their meatballs. Think of it like a steak, right? Let it cook. Let it find that little sear, right? What's the whole thing we're doing? We're trying to brown it. If you're too concerned, it's okay. You can put the temperature down. But 1/2 a stick, back to the garlic bread. 1/2 a stick. We get a measure with your heart. I say it's actually, if I was using real garlic, it would be 2 to 3 bulbs. You get, this is actually garlic salt. This is about a tablespoon, maybe 2 teaspoons. 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon, right? So think two teaspoons. This is the secret ingredient. Onion powder. You need onion powder to get that real authentic. Well, you also need garlic powder, but you need onion powder to get that real authentic taste out of your garlic bread. So then we're going to use a little bit of garlic powder. And then, I didn't even get it out. We should have some oregano, dry oregano. And then you do a little pinch of these crushed red flakes. And that, my friends, is the authentic garlic butter. So you would either, if I was smart, I would have that at room temperature, so then I could kind of just mix it, fold it together, boom, put it right down on the bread, call it a day. But I'm not. So I'm just gonna leave that in there in the microwave. So let's check out our meatballs. So that's what I'm talking about when I say you want that little brown, right? You want that little bit of a brown because, oh shit. Because then now you can kind of move these around without feeling like you are going to rip them in half. So being gentle, minding that, you know, it's okay if it does stick, because this is why I personally like to brown the meatballs. Because once you're able to get the meatballs somewhat browned before you throw them into the sauce, all the scraped extra bits become your meat sauce. Did you know that? That's how you can turn this all into a meat sauce. And I will show you how we do that. So you have a couple different varieties, so you're not necessarily going and eating all of your grandma's sauce. There we go. Look at that. Now, one of them broke, if you think about that. It's because you give it the ample amount of time. And then this is where I like to throw a covering on here, wherever I did with that. Because the steam is going to help cook some of the meatballs and actually help brown the extra top. So once we have that cooking, we're going to let the steam kind of do its thing. And that's whenever I personally dump them into the sauce. Right after it's, I mean, and they're still kind of raw when it comes down to it. So Grandma wasn't really wrong about that. But they're still brown, because if you see some of the moisture and you see some of the liquid that's in this pan, you got to think, if you were to just drop your raw meatball right into your sauce, all that moisture is going to be back into the sauce, and then what ends up happening, you have to take more time to actually cook it, right? So, and again, when you're making a sauce, right, it's why they always, you know, the Italians would do it on Sundays. The Sunday sauce, why? Because you could start it in the morning, and you're not having dinner until later at night. So, and that's also why I'm starting it at 3 o'clock, because I know by the time I eat dinner at 6 and 7 and I start watching the Olympics, I'm going to have some dinner with some damn garlic bread. So, yeah. And I'll tell you what, it was a hard cardio day, and that's why I am eating this damn sauce. But you think, Nick, you're a rebel. I thought we were, you know, fitness. We're watching what we eat. We are, because you use the protein pasta. You know, it got to be protein some source, right? I can't be a fitness person making videos if I'm not supporting something protein fortified. But I've been using these since I was like, I don't know, 26, 7, whenever they first made these. And believe it or not, yes, I am 34 years old. I got a message the other day. It was like, how am I going to listen to a dude that doesn't look a day over 22? I'm like, holy shit, 22. I got some gray hairs, but thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if he was trying to come at me as a troll, but I was like, damn, you just made my day. But I'd hate to be 22 right now. But this is one of my favorites right here, right? The Barilla protein pasta. And for a good reason, too. If you look in the back here, per 3.5 ounces, you get 17 grams of protein with 10 grams of fiber. So yes, you might be going to the bathroom after this, but I also want to show you what 3.5 grams looks like. Because I don't know about you, most people don't know what that actually is. 3.5 grams. Yeah, 3.5 ounces. I was going to say 3.5 grams. That's your serving size. I know you're eating more than that. Look at that bowl. That's a light bowl. But that is one serving of the pasta per the box, right? 3.5 ounces, 340 calories is this. So you think just this amount, and I'll tell you, I'll be real. Let's see. This is what I'm eating. If I'm eating a bowl of this, it's probably like, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm a savage. Fuck it. That's at 8.78. Why don't we just make it a 9, right? Let's just make it a 9. So if you think about 9 ounces, that's 900 calories of pasta, and that's just a full bowl. So people, make sure you're reading the damn labels, right? You might be thinking, oh, this is pasta, it's healthy for me, it's great. Yes, it is. But just this full bowl is 900 damn calories, right? Now, if you have it in the tank, right, eat it. You know, use your calories up. But the thing is this is going to be 900 calories at 45 grams of protein. You don't weigh after cooking. I do weigh after cooking, but there is a when you look at it right here, it even says dry. So that's the reason I say it. But if you think about that, after cooking, that'd probably be a little bit more, don't you think, Debbie? Like, I think, or you'd have less. What do you think? I guess we'll find out whenever we cook it. But that's three times when you think about it. 3.5 times the recipe. So, let's look at the meatballs. Look at all of that liquid, right? That would have been in your sauce. So this is why I say and prefer that you brown the meat before you dump it in. I know Grandma, she told me the other day, Nikki, I just dropped them right in. I don't like doing that. But now that they're browned, now I will drop these in. And what I mean by brown, right, is that they're browned on the outside. Not necessarily browned where, like, you know, they're cooked and they have a sear. You don't want these to sear. That's not what we're looking for here. What we're looking for is to get a lot of that fat out of our meatball. And so once we put them in here, and the thing is that's why a lot of times when people are cooking a traditional marinara or they're cooking some sort of sauce, what they end up doing is they over-season the sauce before they put the meatballs in. So I always say, throw in like a base, you know, that's why we season it. That's why we season the beginning, right, with the tomato paste. That's why we season it kind of with the pepper. We see, you know, as we go along in stages, because that sets up the base flavor for this. Because now the meat and the seasonings and everything is gonna be able to kind of come through into the sauce. So now this is the true where we make sure everything is covered. And now that is the low, slow cook right there. So that's what we did, everybody, today. So we have our traditional sauce. What we did to tone down some of the acidity is that we put in some carrots, right? We put in some carrots, and we didn't add in a little bit of, we could have added some sugar in there if we wanted to, but I am not that type of person. I do not want to add sugar into my sauce. I don't like it. I'd rather add the carrots as a natural way of doing it. So we have that. We got our garlic bread. This is a heavy carb calorie day. And Fridays, reason being, is Fridays are my cardio day. So Fridays are my heavy cardio day, where I hit the bag, where I do a lot of walking, I do a lot of anaerobic stuff. And so my body is absolutely depleted. And so I love Fridays and I love Sundays because of this, because I'm allowed to I need to get my carbs in. And so nothing better than a nice excuse for Italian. So that's why I like to do this. So let me know, everybody, how do they like you? Do you like pasta? Do you like your protein pasta? Do you like your red sauce? Are you a cream sauce type of person? Let me know. Let's turn this off. Yeah, look at all that, right? Look at all that. That would have been in your sauce if you didn't brown it off. That's crazy. That is crazy. And I guess since we're here, I can make this. Maybe we could do, and then we can make dessert. So I know a lot of people have been seeing the videos, or maybe it's just my feed, but the Ninja Creamy. So I bought one of those about 3 months ago by peer pressure from everybody in the community. Nick, you better pick that up the next time you do it. And what's the rule of thumb? If you walk past something 3 times, you gotta pick it up and buy it, right? So if you go to the store and you walk past your book 3 times, you walk past something 3 times, you buy it. The first time you look at it and go, do I really need this? Whatever. You go past it a second time, you're looking for it. You do it a third time, what are you doing? Pick it up, put it in the cart, and then worry about it later. And that's what I did with this Ninja Creamy. And I'll tell you what, it is really good. We still got a little bit of sauce in there. This Ninja Creamy is either going to be the death of me, or this is what's going to be giving me a healthy protein snack. And I've yet to decide which one that technically is quite yet. I don't know if I have one in here. Oh, I do. Oh, that's what the other one is. Interesting. All right. So, let me show you how we make these real quick. I want to tilt you down here. Let me clean this area up first before I start doing anything crazy. I got shit all over the place. This is why I need a bigger house. That's why we need to get sponsored by some of these brands over here, so that we can get a bigger house, so that we can get ourselves a bigger kitchen to teach in. That's the whole goal. I'm running around in this damn old Pittsburgh house. I'm trying to give these streams, and to be honest, that used to be one of the biggest barriers, if we're being real. I used to say, I used to not want to stream or do any of the live streams or make any videos, because I was like, oh, I can't find the angle, I can't find, the house is too small, oh, nobody's gonna watch these videos, nobody gives a shit, I can't get a good corner. And you know what? I realized that was just all self-defeating behavior and excuses that I was putting for myself. And so I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to keep making these damn videos. And here we got 70,000 of you joining in the community. So I am forever grateful. And that's what happens when you do things that you don't necessarily always do, right? Sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone to see what's really out there. And like these live streams. To be honest, I think I like doing these live streams more than I like making the damn videos. I don't know. And that used to be something that I hated, right? That's like the person who never went to the gym before, but then as they start going, they like going to the gym. They're like, this is who I am. I guess that's what's happening to me with these live streams. I don't know. If you keep tuning in and you keep watching, I'll keep making them, right? As long as it's giving you value, giving you some entertainment, keeping you somewhat entertained, that's all I can ask for. And if you're educating and learning something, come on now. That's the main goal. So, we're moving things around here. And we'll bring out the fancy one. The fancy cutting board. Now look at this, right? Now, this, I don't cut on. I'll say that I do not cut on this. This is a one-of-a-kind cutting board that whenever I got them made, I got 14 of these made 3 years ago. And they suckered me into an epoxy, if you can see the artwork on this, an epoxy logo with the wood that is involved. I don't know how he did this, but that is a way too expensive cutting board. Go see you on our call tomorrow. Thanks for the recipes. Sarah, awesome. Love it. See you on our call tomorrow. Make sure you set some goals and some things that you want to accomplish for August, right? Our goal, our theme is progress. So think of something that you can progress in. Think of something that we have to progress in. And I'll see you tomorrow on our Women That Win stream. So if anybody ever, I forgot how did I even announce that? I announced a challenge. What was it? Wednesday. We did a challenge, a 6-week challenge. It's $299. You get your macros, you get workouts, you get to ask me pretty much whatever. Would you believe? And this was from I got asked to do this from the community. I lost 150 followers on that Wednesday after announcing the challenge for you guys. It's interesting. I was like, wow, that's 150 did not want to join the challenge, I guess. And you know what I said? See you later. Get the hell out of here, right? If you don't want to join, you don't want to be in the community, by all means, what are you going to do? So we have this all set up, and I want to show you how we make a quick Ninja Creamy before we go. So this is the Ninja Creamy thing, and this line is very important. So we have the line, we have our Fairlife, we have our almond milk, and so what I like to do is a half and half blend of both of these. So, and this is what's crazy, because I don't even know how they did this, where this actually starts to become an actual ice cream that you want to eat. It makes no sense. And for me, always the problem with ice cream is I love ice cream, but I'm lactose intolerant. So using almond milk in this lactate-free or lactate-infused milk from Fairlife, I can actually enjoy ice cream because now I'm making it myself. So what I like to do is you do half and half Fairlife to almond milk, and then you could use probably pretty much really whatever you really want to use. What I also like to do is throw in, as most people see, is you throw in another scoop of your protein powder, right? So you're thinking, Nick, this should be interesting. Ice cream and sauce. Well, that's why we're going to make this tiramisu style. So I'm going to throw in 1 scoop of our protein. I have some fresh, no I don't, I just got regular vanilla extract. Thought I had some fresh vanilla beans, but I don't. So I do a little bit of this vanilla extract in here. And my girlfriend found out the other day is that, you know, I like to measure vanilla extract with my heart. She thought you could do the same thing with almond extract. Needless to say, we found out the hard way. Well, she found out the hard way. I told her, you can't do that. That's not how it works. And so, this little bit of espresso powder that we're going to throw in on the top. Because if we're trying to make it tiramisu style, you need a little espresso powder, right? So we're going to put a little bit of espresso powder on that. So that means, shit, I know that I'm thinking about it, I might not be sleeping tonight. So we have a little bit of that. And for sweetener, I like doing a little bit of honey. You could do sugar. You could do really whatever. I like a little bit of honey as the sweetener. Help out my allergies a little bit. And I like doing 1 of the chocolate. Oh no, this is the cheesecake, yeah. We do a little bit of that sugar-free Jell-O pudding. And now I do about 3 tablespoons of this sugar-free Jell-O pudding. And the reason you do this is just to give it that thickness, right? You just give it that little bit of extra consistency, and then you do a little dash of the nutmeg. And I do not have the fancy blender. I guess I do have it over there. But I am just going to stir this together, because when it comes down to it, once it all freezes and you throw it through that blender with a Ninja Creamy mix, you have yourself a nice ice cream that is less than Ben and Jerry's and way more protein based than pretty much anything you're going to find in the store, which is quite crazy. And that's why I think it's a good investment for somebody if you want to kind of make your own flavors and make all your other stuff. Because then now, right, that is going to be my tiramisu ice cream that has, let's see, 45 grams of protein and less than 500 calories. So highly recommend these Ninja Creamies for anybody who is trying to get themselves in a, some healthy eating habits. I can't even find the damn lid. But essentially, that's where we're at, everyone. So I appreciate everyone who decided to come in and watch the live stream today. Let me show you. This is the sauce that we made together. Would you look at that with the meatballs and the nice simmering? And then we have our garlic bread that we're going to make. That nice garlic butter. Hopefully you were able to tune in to see the world famous garlic butter. But essentially, this got to cook for another, time is it? 4:20? 4:20. Got to cook for another 2 hours. So I will thank you for everyone for tuning in and showing up for the Food Friday stream. Let me know if you want any more of these recipes, and I will see you Sunday for yoga at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So, peace, everyone. All right, YouTube, we disappeared and we're back. I don't even know if anybody's even was in here. I couldn't even see anybody. But peace.